Over the decades, from my findings and based on current events and realities unfolding before us, I have come to one conclusion. There is something fundamentally wrong with the Nigerian justice system. Something fundamentally wrong. The way justice is being dispensed in Nigeria will never guarantee the unity of the country because a section of the country is being treated differently from other sections of the country. And how do you foster unity? How do you inspire, of course, that trust, that confidence in the existence or continuity as a people under the nomenclature of Nigeria? Nnamdi Kanu 4 years ago made a very striking and stunning revelation, accusing the DSS, who has kept him in solitary confinement, that they have this conspiracy or intention to hold him until eventually his state of health deteriorates. When they know that he's about to pack up, they will eventually release him. They have consistently accused the DSS of not taking adequate and appropriate care of his medical concerns, being that he's having some congenital or heart attack related issues. And in line with this current events and reality, the IPOB has warned unimaginable consequences and the end of Nigeria should anything untold happens to Nnamdi Kanu under DSS custody, according to Sahara reporters. I will leave you with this video of Nnamdi Kanu when he revealed or made 4 years ago, and you can now connect the dots with the current realities and happenings at this time. Of course, we'll come back with more updates. Meanwhile, if you're joining us for the first time, kindly hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification button so that you can get our videos once it's been uploaded. Let's watch this video.
You were talking about your health condition. What exactly is wrong with you, sir?
I have congenital heart failure. Congestive heart failure is called. From the medication, you can tell. So they're basically trying to keep me alive. So that when they calculate that I'm about to give up, that my heart is about to pack up, they will now say go. So when I go outside, I will die outside. That's what they're trying to do.
The medications they've been giving to you, has it not been working?
It's not working. If it's working, why would I have all these lumps underneath my...
And he has written a petition to the Nigerian Medical Association where they brought one quack doctor, somebody who is not a doctor, to treat him.
To come and try and treat him.
But up to now, they
don't know what they're doing. And they know they don't know what they're doing.
I believe you've listened to the video. It was unmistaken words of Nnamdi Kanu 4 years ago. Personal conviction have revealed to him. And with the current realities now, you might want to, of course, connect the dots and eventually make your own opinion based on this inference drawn at this particular time. So the indigenous people of Biafra has warned unimaginable consequences should anything untold happen. Should anything awkward happen to Nnamdi Kanu under DSS custody? Recently, the lead counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, Barrister Maswell Opara, revealed that the state of Nnamdi Kanu health is deteriorating and worsening by the day, which one of the doctors, alleged doctors linked to DSS, came to debunk that everything is okay with Nnamdi Kanu. Despite the clinical examination conducted by one of the Dr. Emeritus that revealed the state of Nnamdi Kanu predicament and recommended that Nnamdi Kanu should be immediately moved to the National Hospital Abuja for appropriate and urgent attention. But here comes one Nasiru from the north who we already understands their sentiments and their positions and their ill will against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Sadly, these are the same people who kept quiet when the Nigerian government, the federal government, was striking a peace deal with known terrorist kingpins in the north. They are the same people celebrating Toji Bello, Ado, Alero, and his colleagues. They were comfortable with these people. They did not see any reason for justice to be served or for these people to be arraigned in the court of law and be tried by, according to the Nigerian uh, constitution or justice system, criminal justice system. But they prefer that these people should be reintegrated in the society. People who have taken the lives of Nigerians, majority of them are foreigners, has been revealed by some service chiefs, the current service chief. They said people killing, including the defense chief, General Christopher Musa, revealed that the people killing Nigerians sadly are not Nigerians, but yet the government of Nigeria, who should protect and prioritize the safety, the security of Nigerians, is compromising the security and welfare of Nigerians by striking a deal, a peace deal, with these assailants who has killed in the churches, in the religious processions, who has killed in the mosques, who has dislodged so many indigenous people and their communities, ended up living in internally displaced camps, and eventually, if they have access to those camps, they will also unleash horror, terror on those camps. These are happening within the Nigerian state. The same people would want Operation Python Dance to be declared on Nnamdi Kanu. The same people will not want justice to be served, even while an appellate court within the Nigerian legal jurisprudence has declared and upheld the innocency of Nnamdi Kanu. Of course, setting aside all the camp charges levied against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, there have never been in the history of Nigeria where a man presumed innocent is still being held behind the bars. That amounts to perjury, that amounts to abuse and a rape of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the laws of the country that establish the appellate courts of laws that gave the verdict after a rigorous legal battle. And of course, examinations, eventually the six-panel judges came to say, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. It doesn't matter the sentiments shared by the current, the then government under Buhari's regime. I call it regime because it's not an administration. You call it an dispensation of democracy when the government upholds the rule of law. So if there is no compliance and adherence to the rule of law, then it is no longer democratic. There is no democracy if there is no rule of law, adherence to the rule of law, compliance to the rule of law, and the regard and respect for the fundamental rights and privileges of humans must be prioritized, must be held in high esteem. Then we can talk about in democratic dispensation where laws and rules, of course, guides every principles and actions defined within a state. But sadly, Nigeria turning against its own rule, court rulings and verdicts. That is quite disturbing, very disturbing development. Honestly, according to the provision of the Nigerian Constitution, an accused is presumed innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. Now, when a competent court of law has proven that otherwise, and yet in defiance to the verdict or the ruling of the court, a man is still detained in DSS solitary confinement. Under what law again? Under what precedents? It is quite a very worrisome development. And in recent time, it has been revealed that the state of his head requires urgent attention. But sadly, an appeal to grant him leave to take care of his head or to seek for an independent medical attention was rejected by the courts, by the Nigerian courts, which eventually should be suspicious. The reason why somebody who has not been convicted by any court of law, somebody who there has been an established court, a verdict ruled in his favor, in Nigerian court of law, both in high courts, in appeal courts. So why should he be denied the right to medical care? It's another concern, Grace. This has informed the position of the Ipob, the indigenous people of Biafra, warning, giving a stern warning to Tinubu at this particular time that unimaginable consequences that the indigenous people of Biafra across the entire world will not accept should Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be traded for political gains, that he remains a prisoner of conscience for expressing his rights protected by international laws, for the self-determination, and of course the right to political affiliations, especially when they consider their continued existence within the Nigeria being threatened. You can't imagine living with terrorists being considered for peace deal, people who has unleashed terror on the indigenous communities, sacked several communities, thousands and tens of thousands has been killed in recent years by the activities of these assailants. Sadly, you still see an individual from the north calling for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be crucified. Why the same individuals are calling for amnesty, are calling for compensation, are calling for peace talk, for a compromise for the terrorists that have not just destroyed the north, coming down to the south. Of course, their antecedents has been witnessed in southwest, in southeast, even the south-south. But what exactly does that imply? That people are so cruel that they want other regions to be crossed, to be killed, to be unjustly treated, while their own region could do whatever they want to do and get away with that. Well, let's listen to Barrister Maxwell Opara, what he has to say regarding this unfortunate development.
My dear people, we just came to submit a petition against the Dr. Nasru Mohammed at Nigerian Medical and Dental Council here. What actually happened is that Nnamdi Kanu is feeling ill, and we discovered that the medical officers at the DSSS can no longer handle him, and we applied. They said that we should go and get a medical practitioner. We have to engage Professor Emeritus, Professor Martin Anthony Ayaj, former provost of the University of Nigeria, Professor Emeritus, who has been there with over 50 years of medical experience. So he came, diagnose Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, look at him, do everything about his medical issue, and come up with a report that Nnamdi Kanu's potassium is high. He had a lot of medical complications, and they needed to be moved out to National Hospital. They will have a specialist to treat him. So based on that, we apply. The DSSS refused. We apply to vacation court for vacation court to give us an order for us to move into National Hospital. Only for one Dr. Nasir Mohammed, a medical officer with the DSSS, came up and deposed an affidavit that Nnamdi Kanu is comfortable in DSSS, that nothing is happening for him, and countered the report given by Professor Emeritus, Professor Araj. He never diagnosed Nnamdi Kanu. He never discussed anything about Nnamdi Kanu. He never even examined Nnamdi Kanu, only for him to depose that affidavit. And based on that counter affidavit, vacation court now was unable to hear us because they have filed counter affidavits. And we said, how can a medical doctor, you are only interested to satisfy the federal government that employed you, as against the health of a patient? This is a medical negligence. This is a medical misconduct, and we are calling on a medical and dental council to discipline Dr. Nasru Mohammed. That's why we brought the petition to them. You can see the comprehensive report given by Professor Aj, who is in the medical profession and medical institution, who doesn't know Professor Aj, that who Professor Aj will write a report. Somebody who is nobody in the medical profession will fault what Professor Aj wrote, thereby playing with Madison and the Carlos cells. So we have written the petition at the dental council, and we believe that we'll follow it up. We'll keep you posted. Though information reaching me now is that our case has been will be had, no case submission will be had on the ruling will be given on the 26th of this month, no longer on the 10th. I will keep you posted.
Now, sadly, one of the northern people who describe himself as Abdullahi Saliu is saying that Operation Python dance is waiting for you. You can imagine. Operation Python dance is waiting for you. And the same Operation Python dance is not waiting for the Castina people or the assailants, the bandits, the terrorists, unleashing mayhem, ravaging the entire Castina, the entire Northeast. The Python dance is not meant for them. Even while Tinubu, the president, declared a marching order, gave military marching order to hunt down these assailants, including the Ado Alero that was threatening the Nigerian military and the entire Nigerian state, that they dare not provoke them to anger. You can imagine these are aliens or alleged to be aliens coming to exert their dominance through the instrumentality of terrorism, bringing the Nigerian government to the point of subjection, to reach a compromise to accept the killers of your citizens, those who have dislodged, killed, murdered, have done all sorts of abominable things against your own citizens, that you are striking a peace deal with them. On what basis, on what considerations? That those who died, who were killed by this assailant, deserve to be killed in such cruelty, in such level of cruelty, that Nigerian government does not have the obligation to protect and guarantee their safety and well-being? What is the basis for this fixing, which eventually might be short-lived? Because with escalations of what we are seeing of recent in Borno State, military base is being attacked, and the same terrorist kingpin threatening the peace of the country, daring to kill more Nigerians. And yet the government, the security operative, the DSS, intelligence gathering, they are folding their hands, helpless in all this, of course, happenings. Yet they can justify that Nnamdi Kanu deserved to die. That was quite the level of cruelty being expressed in human history, honestly. And this have revealed the bitterness, the wickedness that is pervading the entire country, that reveals that these people are not one. And there is no way you could reconcile or converge them. There is no magic that can bring them to that rallying point or convergence point to reason beyond sentiments, religious, tribal sentiments, and whatever, and have a common currency, which is justice, unity, equity, and fairness for all. That practically is seen to be impossible within the Nigerian political and economic sphere. Honestly, how could such double standard be allowed to operate? It's very worrisome development. The same people who threaten the Nigerian government and the population of this country that if the president of Mieti Allah Badejo is not released, of course, they are going to bomb down the country. And upon this, the Attorney General of the Federation, in the interest, as he submitted, in the interest of national security, has to release Badejo without stringent conditions attached. This was a suspect which was arraigned in the court of law, and treasoning felony was part of the allegation, and unlawful procurement and training of militia groups without the consent or express permission from the federal government is considered as a treason, and that should be treated under the law. But sadly, such case was withdrawn because of vested interests. There are people who has become untouchable in Nigeria, while some could be used as pigs, of course, to run laboratory tests. As Nnamdi Kanu has argued, has revealed that 50 times his blood samples has been taken. Has it become a guinea pig? What is the reason for this endless subjugations and tests, and yet you could not be given the adequate or appropriate attention to take care of his worsening medical uh, issues, as been revealed by his lawyer. Of course, his lawyer has the right to speak for him. And Nnamdi Kanu, when he has the opportunity, also have expressed it, just as we watch ab initio from the beginning part of this video. It is quite a worrisome development, honestly. Now, one section is being perceived that they deserve to be treated such a way, while others deserve to get away with their problem, with their atrocities, with the level of impunity and pain they have caused to Nigerians. Have you seen Mazen Nnamdi dislodging or displacing any community? Have you seen him, of course, with spin or pistol, harassing or embarrassing anyone? But here comes people who were seeing the entire world was viewing them threatening the Nigerian people, Nigerian citizens, and yet nothing could be done about that. What an effrontery, what a confrontation to the sovereignty of the Nigerian state, having compromised the territorial integrity, ordering the security operatives never to dare cross their own territory, their own camps. What a hell is happening in this country. Of course, in this vein, the IPOB have considered that the Igbos were quiet not because they don't know what to do. They are suing for peace and they want peace for everyone. But should anything happen to Mazen and according to Sahara Reporters publication, unimaginable consequences, their consequences might ensue, which might not be in the interest of anyone. The fact they have kept quiet, watching the subjugation, humiliation, the continued persecution of their leader does not suggest weakness. Well, it is quite unfortunate. We do not promote or call for violence, but it's important that the those concerns, the government should understand there is need to sue for peace. There's need for equity, fairness, and only compliance to the rule of law and respect for the fundamental right of the people will guarantee such peace and sustainability of such, of course, coexistence. But it's very sad we're experiencing that, and the people largely believe that they are not an integral part of the country. Otherwise, they shouldn't have been treated this way. And some have argued that Nigeria was created against the Igbos to subjugate the Igbos and make them inferior by every means possible. Well, some might not agree with that, but some largely believe that this is nothing short of the truth. As Nnamdi Kanu have also expressed that the subjugation and oppression of an Igbo man must end with him, which means he believes that the injustice and the imbalance of fairness meted on his people across the regions of this country must come to an end. The reason why his continued subjugation has become more controversial, people begin to ask, what are the basis of his continued incarceration under the DSS dungeon? As he reveals, what they are planning to do is to release me when they know that I'm about to pack up. It is a very worrisome development. We hope that never happens. Of course, as the court has upheld his innocency, and there has not been any substantive court that have indicted him, of course, in view of these current realities, Justice James Omotoso, presiding over the case of Nnamdi Kanu, has shifted the hearing for the no case submission to 26th of September, being Friday. Well, it is either a Black Friday or a Bloody Friday or a peaceful Friday, whichever that means. Possibly, he have reconsidered the need to dispense justice, or perhaps to play the script. All the time will reveal, as it's largely believed that the Nigerian government, the judiciary, and Justice James Omotoso is on trial, but not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is a prisoner of conscience. Let's have your own take regarding this development. Thanks for watching.